Yeah, they did.
Exactly. And a nice car. I did. I saw. No, like top of the line. You've been practicing all this time, man. Right. And now you come up with the details. I was going to walk up to your window and knock on the window and say, "Who wants some drink for prom?" It's lovely. It is a nice car. It's very nice. It's a nice car. Yeah, it's very nice. It's your house. Of course. Very smart. No more Yes, Chevy. You're American made. This place, wow.
Good morning. Good morning. Could I ask everyone to be seated? Please, could you please find a seat and, kind of move off the wall if you could? I'd appreciate it. Those reserved seats aren't necessary. Our guests are going to stand on the stage. So I'd ask everyone to please move into the into the press room and be seated. Thank you so much. Could I ask everybody to please come in and be seated into the press room? Thank you. Good morning. Thank you all for joining us this morning. My name is Sharon Taylor, Director of Communications for County Executive Aisha Braveboy. We are pleased to host Attorney General Brown's office today. I want to introduce you to my colleague, Jennifer Donnellan. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Sharon. Jennifer Donnellan, Director of Communications for Attorney General Anthony Brown. It is such a pleasure to be here with you this afternoon. Prince George's County Council, you are looking amazing. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you for all the work that you're doing on behalf of Prince Georgians. Also, Mayor Emmett Jordan from Greenbelt is here. City Manager is also here. Hello, wave up. There we go. Thank you both for being here. So a couple housekeeping notes for the press. Senators Van Hollen and also Brooks, unfortunately, are unable to be here this afternoon. They are a little bit busy in Washington, and that's where we need them. So the senators send their regrets. In just a moment, we'll be beginning. You'll have the Governor, Attorney General Brown, County Executive Braveboy, Congressman Steny Hoyer, Congressman Glenn Ivey, and Senate President Bill Ferguson.
We'll flank around. You want to come on this side? You just kind of flank around. Yep. You want to come on the other side and just flank around? Yeah.
I want to be to your right. I want to be to your right.
You are, man. Well, good afternoon, everyone. We are here today to announce the lawsuit that the state of Maryland and Prince George's County are filing against the Trump administration for their unlawful efforts to divert funds away from and to undermine and prevent the FBI headquarters coming to Greenbelt, Maryland. So we're going to hear from the governor. We've got the lineup of speakers. Mr. Governor.
Thank you so much.
Thanks so much. Good afternoon, everybody. First, I wanted to thank the Attorney General for his leadership, for his vision, and for his fight, especially now in this moment. Today is now day 37 of Donald Trump's federal government shutdown. And this now is the longest shutdown in American history. And right now, President Trump controls the White House, President Trump controls both chambers of Congress, and frankly, all he needs to do is pick up the phone to be able to make the deal and to get everyone back to work. All he needs to do is make a phone call so families don't have to go hungry. All he needs to do is make a phone call so that we have people who are not going to work and not being paid. All he needs to do is make a phone call to make sure we are not risking children losing food assistance and people losing their health care. But if there's one thing that we know about this president, is that he seemingly does not give a damn about public servants. And that's why this debate about the FBI building is so important and what it's all about. It's about our public servants. And the Attorney General is going to walk through all the legal reasoning behind the lawsuit. So I want to spend just a few minutes talking about what moving the FBI headquarters from Greenbelt to the Reagan building means for our public servants, for our law enforcement. Because the president's plan is not just illegal, frankly, it just lacks common sense. And his foolishness will put our public servants in jeopardy. The big problem with the current FBI building is that it lacks the modern security provisions and protections that the Bureau needs in 2025. So to be frank, the building is too old, it is too small, and it is too exposed. So what then does the president do? He decides to move the FBI building to another building that is too old, too small, and too exposed. This is ridiculous. And frankly, it's the reason that we are all so frustrated, but why none of us are surprised. Because this is a president who has presided over the firing of agents who investigated the January 6th attack on the Capitol. This is an administration that's abruptly relocated senior agents and disbanded the Public Corruption Squad. Now, we know he's trying to shortchange the FBI by killing our plan for a new, modern, cutting-edge headquarters. But the president should be less focused on making sure that billionaires can have a nice stay in the Lincoln bedroom, and more focused on making sure that our FBI agents can do their jobs safely and securely. We are going to fight this thing with everything that we have. Maryland is going to fight this thing with everything that we have, because in Maryland, we do not bend the knee. And we stand up for our public servants. Greenbelt is the best home for the FBI, for their mission, for their agents, for their future. And it's the result of close analysis and a fair process. So if Donald Trump thinks that we are going to roll over when he tries to make life worse for our law enforcement, he better think twice, and we'll see him in court. I will now turn this back over to our extraordinary Attorney General.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Governor. Look, I'm honored to stand here with Governor Moore, with County Executive Aisha Braveboy, and I want to thank you for hosting us here today. to stand here with Steny Hoyer, Congressman Hoyer, and Congressman Glenn Ivey, and the Senate President. It's truly an honor to stand here today. And before I offer some brief remarks, I just want to thank some folks who really made this happen. And I know that County Executive Brayboy is going to mention her legal team at the County Attorney's Office. It's been a pleasure working with you. I want to thank my team at the Federal Accountability Unit within the Office of the Attorney General. And I also want to thank the Governor's Office of Legal Counsel for the work that we've done together to bring this complaint to fruition. So again, thank you for hosting us, County Executive Brayboy. As I mentioned earlier, we are here to announce the Office of the Attorney General in Prince George's County. We are filing a lawsuit to stop the Trump administration's unlawful attempt to sabotage a new FBI headquarters project in Greenbelt. For more than a decade, Maryland worked alongside federal partners through a careful, transparent process to bring a new FBI headquarters building to Prince George's County. But in 2017, after President Trump took office, his administration canceled the entire project. Congress revived it in 2022 with new funding and a clear directive telling GSA to select a location from 3 sites, 2 in Maryland and 1 in Virginia. We followed every rule. We met every requirement, and 2 years ago in November of 2023, most of us here stood together then to announce that the federal government had selected Greenbelt as a site for this transformative project. Congress backed the decision. Between 2016 and 2024, Congress has appropriated over $1.1 billion specifically for this project. It wasn't just Congress who set aside money. Maryland and Prince George's County made extraordinary commitments to this project. The state pledged approximately $250 million for improvements to transportation infrastructure. Prince George's County pledged over $100 million in funding of its own. We did this because we expected our communities would benefit from high-paying jobs and transformative economic development opportunities. Marylanders were counting on this project. Prince George's County was counting on this project. Local businesses were counting on this project. We invested because the federal government said it was coming. Yet last month, President Trump said he would put a stop to this project, not last month, last March. He said that, and not allow the FBI to relocate to Maryland. But that's not how it works, Mr. President. When Congress passes a law and appropriates money for a specific purpose, the executive branch doesn't just ignore it because they don't like the outcome. But that's exactly what happened here. In July, the FBI and GSA announced they were abandoning Greenbelt and moving the headquarters to the Ronald Reagan Building in Washington, D.C. Congress had been clear. GSA was to choose among 3 locations, A, B, or C, and the Trump administration picked D. And that's as close as failure as you get. They provided no explanation for discarding years of planning, no consultations with Maryland as required by federal law. They simply announced they had decided to renovate a building Congress never even considered to house the FBI. And then the FBI and GSA both took steps to redirect the more than $1 billion in funding that Congress set aside for the project. What we're really seeing is an administration that doesn't like the decision Congress made. So they're trying to undo it without going back to Congress. That violates federal law. It violates congressional directives. It harms Marylanders who were promised jobs and opportunities. That's why we took action. So our lawsuit, we allege that the Trump administration is attempting to unlawfully reprogram and transfer over $1 billion in funds that Congress designated specifically for the Greenbelt project. They violated explicit congressional directives that limited site selection to the 3 authorized locations. They ignored federal requirements to consult with state and local government, and they acted arbitrarily and capriciously by abandoning years of careful planning without explanation or justification. We are asking the court to stop the unlawful selection of the Reagan Building, prevent the diversion of congressionally appropriated funds, and ensure the federal government, the Trump administration, follows the law. Maryland, we played by the rules. We won the project fairly, and we will not let this administration steal jobs and opportunities from Prince George's County and Maryland. So I want to thank you very much again. Welcome, Aisha Boy, to the podium.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Attorney General Brown, for partnering with the county's Office of Law in filing this lawsuit today. I want to thank our leader, our governor, Wes Moore, who said, and he continues to say, he will leave no one behind. And today he's proving he will leave no county behind. And I appreciate all that you do. You know, there's so many issues going on in this country. And I can tell you, I just left probably what was the largest single job fair in Prince George's County's history, with over 2,000 people lining up at our sports and learning complex. Every single county agency was there. The private sector was there. Our utilities were there. Our nonprofits were there. And guess what? We're going to have another one in a couple of weeks because the needs are real. So there are so many battles that we're fighting right now. And we have to, of course, pick and choose our battles. But I can tell you, this battle, the one we're announcing today, is worth fighting. It's worth fighting. The Greenbelt FBI headquarters site, and I will concede nothing. So this site will be the largest single economic development project in the history of Prince George's County. It will create over 7,500 jobs. It will add roughly $4 billion in economic benefits to the state and the county. This project is so important that it will positively affect the gross domestic product of Prince George's County. That's how significant this project is. It doesn't get any bigger than this. And we're not going to give something up that is this important without a fight, especially when we won this fair and square. You know, today you see Team Prince George's, not just on this stage, but in the audience. I see the mayor of Greenbelt, which will be the future site of the FBI headquarters. I see our county council led by our chair, Ed Burrows, here today. Strong. Your council members came out strong because we are all in this together. And I want to thank the members of my administration, led by my CAO, Maxine Bardwell. Thank you so much. Along with our county attorney, Anthony Jones. Thank you so much for your hard work. And my chief of staff, Latara Harris. As the Attorney General mentioned, we joined this lawsuit together. In our suit, we argued that the Trump administration, when the Trump administration announced that the FBI headquarters would not be located in Greenbelt, that was illegal. That it's illegal because Congress directed through the Consolidated Appropriations Acts of 2022 and 2023 that Congress directed, as the Attorney General mentioned, that the FBI should be located at one of 3 locations, Greenbelt and Landover, which were both in Prince George's County, or in Springfield, Virginia. After the selection of the Greenbelt site was made in 2023, the administration illegally decided to pick a location that had never even been contemplated by Congress. That decision, as was mentioned, was arbitrary and capricious. The entire state of Maryland is united in keeping the FBI in Prince George's County at its Greenbelt site. And I am grateful to be here today. You know, when other jurisdictions in this region have been able to benefit from the location of major agencies like NIH in Montgomery County, it spurred the growth of industries like life sciences and the pharmaceutical industry. When the Pentagon came to Northern Virginia, it ignited the growth of the defense contracting industry. And so here in Prince George's County, we have an opportunity to be the leader in cybersecurity for not just this nation, but the world. And we're not conceding, and we're not giving it up, because it's far too important for us. And by filing this lawsuit today, we are standing up and fighting for the economic future of Prince George's County, and we're standing for the rule of law. I would like to thank everyone who has been a part of this process for so many years. And I truly believe that as we continue to fight for our economic rights and our economic future, we will see the FBI located here in Prince George's County at a site that is absolutely perfect to protect those men and women who are protecting our country day in and day out. I can tell you, as the former state's attorney, I worked very closely, and in fact, in my last case that I prosecuted, my last homicide case that I prosecuted, we worked hand in hand with the FBI experts to analyze the evidence to secure a guilty conviction of someone who killed a teacher who served our students in the Greenbelt area. I think there's no more poignant case to point out the importance of the FBI to the future of Prince George's County than a case like that. We work hand in hand with our partners at the FBI, and we want them here. And we look forward to them making Prince George's County their home. Thank you. Oh, and now I will welcome a true warrior. Like if you're in a fight, you want this guy to be with you. And that is our congressman, and my congressman, Steny Hoyer.
Well, I just got into this issue the other day. And before I talk about when I got into this issue, I want to talk about the fact that we need to open up the federal government of the people of the United States of America. The problem is, Democrats are negotiating with a group that does not want the government open. Just as Elon Musk with his chainsaw wanted to fire everybody. Russell Vogt, who is essentially the CFO of our country. He's called the OMB director, but he's the chief financial officer. He has said he wants the federal employees to be perceived as the villains. He wants the federal employees to be perceived so badly that when they wake up in the morning, they don't want to come to work. You know, it is illegal in America to create a hostile workplace. Anthony, I'm pursuing with some folks the possibility of suing Russell Vogt. Probably can't sue the president, but Russell Vogt for creating consciously, intently, and with vengeful objectives the creation of a hostile workforce in the federal government. Now, what we are going to create here in Greenbelt, in Prince George's County, in the state of Maryland, is a safe workforce. a strategically housed workforce, a workforce that is consistent with the request that was made of me in 2009. I was the majority leader of the House of Representatives, and the director of the FBI came to my office, and he sat down, and he said, Stenny, this building in which we are housed is unsafe. 2009. This is 15 years later, 16 to be exact. The building was unsafe. There is not a Democrat or a Republican who has visited that building, including Kash Patel, who doesn't say it is an unsafe environment for our employees, or one could say a hostile environment. And Mr. Mueller said to me in 2009, we need a space somewhat like the CIA or NSA that is a large enough space so that we can insulate ourselves from terrorists, from people who would blow us up. And so they wanted a campus setting with at least 150-foot setback. I don't know how many of you have gone by the Reagan building. 15 feet or so, a little short. And so I said, Mr. Director, I agree with you. And we started this saga of transparency, of honesty, of consideration, of all the factors that would make our FBI the place where people could work in security and be the most effective for the American people in keeping the peace and keeping law and order. And we worked hard on that from 2009 to 2016. And we were getting close, that close. We were almost there to get it done. And Donald Trump intervened. Donald Trump intervened. And by the way, we're going to have to clear that site where it's located now on Pennsylvania Avenue. And by the way, right across the street was a hotel. Who was the proprietor of that hotel? Donald Trump. And so he canceled it. He didn't decide we're going to put it someplace else. He didn't decide we need to tear down this building because it's unsafe, Governor, for the people who work there. He simply canceled it. And so nothing was done for the next 4 years of a building that all Republicans and all Democrats who have been through it say is unsafe and unworthy, and the directors will say is unsuited to the way they do law enforcement today. And so we had another fight. We started in 21 and 22 and 23. And because of the transparency they've talked about, but mostly because of the suitability of the site to meet the needs and requests of the Federal Bureau of Investigation. That is why ultimately Greenbelt was, not for political reasons, but for suitability to the task that we have assigned to the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And now we're in a fight. Because the president, not related to any specific criteria or strategic decision-making, but related more to his political bias. Hear me. His political bias. That he's decided to move it to a building totally unsuited, unplanned for, undesigned for the purposes of a major law enforcement agency. So we're going to win this suit, and we're going to win this battle. And that is why, and a lot of people were really invested in this decision, but that is why ultimately the GSA decided this is the place, the best place, from a cost standpoint, from a strategic standpoint, from a community standpoint, where the Prince George's community was a welcoming community. Mr. Mayor, I thank you and Greenbelt for their efforts. I want to mention County Executive also Brooks, and I want to mention Larry Hogan, the governor. The governor said to all his Republican colleagues, some of which he's friendly with, some not, this is the best site for the FBI. This was a bipartisan decision going forward that has been turned into a petty, inappropriate, small bore decision for punitive purposes. Not just against Prince George's County, but against the FBI. Against the FBI. So I am hopeful that this suit will prevail. I believe it will prevail. The Congress has decided. But you remember I mentioned this guy, Russell Vogt. Russell Vogt believes that the passing of laws by the Congress is a suggestion to the executive department. And if they want to follow it, they can. If they don't, they won't, because he believes Article 2 of the Constitution of the United States gives the president plenary power. That is, of course, untrue, and the Supreme Court has held it to be untrue. So I want to thank the Attorney General. I want to thank Ben Cardin. I want to thank Ben Cardin, who was our senior United States Senator. I want to thank Angela, who fought so hard and worked with Hogan in getting the state to make commitments on this. We have stepped up to the plate. We are ready. We are the place it ought to be, and for every valid reason, ultimately, I believe the Congress and even the Executive Department will decide Greenbelt is the site where the Federal Bureau of Investigation ought to be placed. And we ought to do it sooner rather than later. Now, let me also lastly thank the person whose district the FBI is in, and that is Glenn Ivey. It was
your district?
It was my district. It was Anthony's district. It's been all over. So we have an interest in this because we have studied this issue from 2009 to date, and it is absolutely the right decision the Congress has made. Put it in Greenbelt and do it now. A long time ago, people would introduce me as the youngest president in the history of Maryland. The problem with that introduction, that it was so long ago that I was the youngest anything. But close to me as the youngest president is my good friend Bill Ferguson.
You're
President.
giving me.
Oh, Glenn Ivey's name.
I ain't had that job yet.
So, but before Bill talks, Glenn Ivey.
Let's hear it for Steny Hoyer. I think he's, the longevity on this issue is there, but I mean, he's been in Congress over 40 years. 45? Oh, but who's counting, right? And he did an outstanding job. I think he was the best majority leader the House of Representatives has ever seen. And I do want to thank the governor for coming out today. I think his leadership on this has been fantastic. I think he's done a great job. Last time we were here talking about it, I guess it was in Greenbelt, and it was a victory celebration of a sort. I knew we were going to have some more fights coming, and we're skipping the Virginia stuff. I'm going to move past that, but we also knew after Trump won that we would be back with this too, and I appreciate the fact that you're fighting so hard for us. So thank you for your leadership. Now, I heard that we were doing a press event on something unrelated, and a reporter comes up and he says, President Trump just said he's going to, sent a tweet, going to move the FBI somewhere else. And I was like, I don't care what he says in the tweet. And by the way, he's going to hear from our lawyer, and our lawyer's going to kick his butt. Anthony Brown, thank you so much for the great work that you're doing on this. I do want to mention, too, Chris Van Hollen. I think he's been doing an outstanding job in the work on this. When we did the pitch to GSA, he handled a key part of that aspect of it. He really tracked the funding issue because the United States is wasting a lot of money by dragging its feet on getting this done. I forget what the exact number is, but it's tens of millions per year. Every year we delay doing this, it's costing the American people money. And 250 million. And the fact that Trump is doing this for political reasons for the second time around, I think is, insult to injury, in addition to all the other things he's doing to waste government taxpayer money, the $300 million ballroom, and, we could go through all of those things, but it's really sad that he's exploiting the office in this way and wasting taxpayer dollars to such an extent. And I did want to thank County Executive Brayboy as well for the great job that she's been doing. I'll reintroduce the Senate President in a moment. But I just want to say a couple things on this front. One is that we really did win this fair and square. I mean, it's really clear cut that this was the best site to be at. Now, just coincidentally, I was at another event this morning at a law firm where I had been representing a client that was trying to get the FBI headquarters to go somewhere else in Prince George's County. That was 10 years ago. 10 years ago. And they got wiped out, actually, after D.C. got disqualified, basically, because they didn't have a site that was appropriate. So the federal government already ruled that D.C. did not have a site that would work, yet here we are again. They're trying to force this back in there, even though it's clear that there's no site in the District of Columbia, according to the federal government itself, that could actually hold this site appropriately. We need a site that's going to be like the CIA headquarters. If you've ever been out there around, it's a perimeter area. That's NSA especially is just like that too. There's no place where you can do that in Washington, D.C. Greenbelt is the site. Greenbelt's where it should be. It's safest for the people who work for the FBI. It's the best place for the United States, and it's the best expenditure of the tax dollars. So I really think we'll win again on the merits. And then just briefly, too, there's a number of reasons that it was picked. There's one other additional reason. I think the county exec alluded to this, and that's cybersecurity. One of the things that we really have at that site that you don't have in other places is that we've got a strong nucleus for cybersecurity innovation right there. It's partly northern Prince George's County, but also in other parts of Maryland. But you've got NSA right there. You've got University of Maryland. It's doing a lot of great work with it. We've got where I think the future of these kind of crime-fighting issues are going to go. It's quantum computing. Everything's going to go to quantum computing. We have the best quantum computing company in America, IonQ, and the governor's taking big steps to keep them here, so I really appreciate that. But we got all of the things that we need to have to make this work. It's the best site, and we need to make sure we keep it here in Greenbelt. Yes, for economic development. Yes, because it's the best site, but it's also the best place to go for the United States. I'll just end on this one point here. Slightly related, the attack on FBI agents, the revenge tour that the Trump administration, that President Trump is engaged in, asking for a list of all of the FBI agents who were involved in the January 6th investigations. Crazy stuff. And he's been forcing out, he and Patel, who is a piece of work in and of, is probably the worst FBI director the United States has ever had. He's more interested in flying out to Las Vegas to see his girlfriend than actually getting the job done here in the FBI. And it's such a critical time right now, too. We're facing all sorts of challenges from around the world and internally, too. They want to talk about Antifa, but guess what? Those lone wolves who keep shooting up these schools and putting things at risk, straight from the Timothy McVeigh line to here, they're right here in the United States, and the FBI needs to be investigating them. They need to focus on that now and stop flying off to see concerts other places. And then lastly, on that front, the white-collar investigations are a critical piece of what the FBI really needs to be doing, too. Now, I know why Donald Trump doesn't want to be doing that, because he'd be public enemy number 1, 2, 3, 4 through 10 if they really had a chance to focus on the $300 million, the $400 million jet, the $230 million he's trying to get from all of that stuff that he's been doing which is crazy and illegal, and that just scratches the surface. I won't even get to the cryptocurrency payments that he's been getting for people who have contracts here in the United States government, and he's taking millions of dollars in crypto, and all of a sudden their cases are disappearing at the SEC and the like. So we need him to focus on really doing the right job. We need him to focus on following the law, which he refuses to do overall. But you know what? He's going to do it here because we're going to beat him in court. The FBI is going to be there, and we're going to be able to move forward from there. So thanks so much. And without further ado, the youngest Senate president?
Close. He's beat me.
Oh, is that? Senator William Ferguson. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Good afternoon. On the afternoon of April 19th, 30 years ago in 1995, I came home. I was in 6th grade at the time, and I came home from school. I know. Why am I starting there? Both of my parents were home, which was unexpected because, for the most part, my dad came home late at night. I walked into the front door and walked into the living room, and my dad said, "Bill, I have to talk to you." And he said, "Ryan's dad, Alan, is missing. The federal building that he was in Oklahoma City was blown up. He was a Secret Service agent that had dedicated his life to protecting the United States president, the first George Bush. And he and his family had moved to Oklahoma City from Rockville for a slower life. And Timothy McVeigh and conspirators came up with a plot as domestic terrorists and packed a van with explosives and killed hundreds, including children, in a federal building in Oklahoma City. This is not a joke. This is serious business. We have laws in this country to prevent exactly what happened in Oklahoma. Picking and taking up this case, for the governor's attorneys, for the work that's been done at the local level for this lawsuit. This matters. And at the end of the day, in a constitutional republic, we will see you in court. Thank you.
Great. Again, I want to thank the platform speakers, and we're going to now open it up to questions. Yes, Q&A. Yeah, and you're gonna pick and moderate, please.
Yes, sir.
No, I'll moderate, but you pick.
Can you please say your name and your media outlet before you answer your question, William?
All right, I'll say that.
Yeah, can I see you? Okay, good.
William Ford with Maryland Matters, good afternoon. There's been a lot of confidence noted on that this lawsuit will win. But how confident are you against an administration that has stated and shown its actions doesn't care about the law? Why do you think this suit will be working?
Look, we have a strong complaint that we put together. The facts, as you've heard described by so many on this here today, the factual allegations, the law that we cite, it is a tight case. And we are confident that bringing it to the federal courts in the District of Maryland, that we are going to get a fair hearing, and in that hearing, we are going to get it. Nobody can predict the outcome and the result of a case, but we think that if it was ever a strong case you could point to, it is this case. This is a lawless administration. We've seen it time and time again. Your question goes a little beyond that to, once the court rules, what the administration does. We're taking it one step at a time. Right now, we filed a complaint today. We are prepared to take this to trial when that day comes, and to prevail. And that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna use the tools, the authorities, the resources available to us in Maryland with Prince George's County to fight, defend, and to bring the FBI building here to Prince George's County.
Next question, yeah, no, for you? Me? Yeah. I don't have my glasses on, I'm over 50 now. Wait, I think it's Hannah, right? Yeah, okay, go ahead.
Hannah Gaskell with the Daily Record. This might be for the Senate President or the Governor. The $250 million that the state allocated, has it already been spent? Is it earmarked to be spent down the line?
No, that's capital that is earmarked, and as was mentioned earlier, when the decision was made, the independent decision was made by the GSA, then we began to move, both as a county and as a state, to be able to make sure that we were going to be able to do our part, to be able to move quickly, move swiftly, and to build the building. And so the capital that has already been allocated, the capital that we've already put together in terms of preparation, site preparation, and the capital that we now have earmarked for this is capital that has already been placed and will be part of the argument that's making as to why these illegal actions will not be tolerated.
CTV. Thank you, thank you.
If you don't win this case, what would be your next step?
I'll tell you, I don't wake up in the morning thinking about what I'm not gonna do. I really don't. I mean, it's, there's a process, right? You go to trial, you win, you lose, a party appeals, they don't. Right now, we are focused on a very strong case that's been filed today in federal court. So I just, I'd like to give you more, but I'm not thinking about losing this case. All right.
Okay, just go ahead and say your name and outlet.
No, I want to
I'm
follow
sorry.
up.
I'm sorry, I have my back to you, I'm sorry.
Nobody on this dais is giving up. This is one of the things that we think we have to do. We think we're right in this suit, and we think we're going to win this case. Then we think in America, no person is above the law, including the President of the United States. And frankly, I believe there are a whole lot of people on Tuesday who said, in America, no person is above the law. And the answer to your question is, we're going to keep on fighting. And we believe we're going to win. Why? Because it was the right decision for the right group at the right time. And we think ultimately, in a democracy, in the Congress, we will win this battle because we are correct on the facts and on the interests of the Federal Bureau of Investigation and national law enforcement.
Thank you, Congressman. Okay.
Yes, Lionel Donovan with the USA Knife. I have a two-part question. First was to Governor Moore. This is not the first lawsuit the state of Maryland has brought against the Trump administration. I believe you've supported all the lawsuits that have come forward. You've made your stance on the Trump administration's actions very clear. The two have gone back and forth. We've now talked about, redistricting, redrawing district lines here in Maryland, something that, members of your own party have questioned. Can you kind of talk about the need to, it seems like, take a more aggressive response to the Trump administration's actions? How is that something that you plan on convincing people as you go through the election?
Well, I'm not trying to take an aggressive approach against the Trump administration. I'm trying to make sure that the law is followed. That everything we say about the Trump administration is not because it is personal. It's because what he is doing is not legal. And he has to follow the law, regardless of what he thinks. And so, this is not the first lawsuit that the state of Maryland has taken against the president. This will also not be the first lawsuit that the state of Maryland has won against the president. To include, by the way, last week when the President of the United States decided to use food as a weapon, when the President of the United States decided to use food for our children as a negotiating chip. So no, this is not the first time that we have sued the President. This will not be the first time that we will beat the President in court. And for the for the second thing, I've been crystal clear that if other states and if this country is going to go through a process of determining whether or not they have fair maps, so will Maryland. And that is why I have ordered the Governor's Redistricting Advisory Commission, which is chaired by Prince George's County's own Senator Angela Alsobrooks. And it is a bipartisan commission that will then go through the process, and what we're now asking for is let the commission do their work, and then let the commission come back with their report.
Next question, Brad Bell, and then, oh, Darcy, yep, I'll get you after Brad. Brad?
Look, I'm anticipating the argument is gonna be that the FBI and GSA, those are executive functions. Right? Congress only got involved because there was an executive request. What will you say to that argument? That, this is an executive function, an executive decision first.
Well, I mean, the law enforcement and the mission of the FBI is an executive function. Site selections and real estate decisions, it's an executive function, the GSA. But as you heard, that is governed by the law, right? It's the Congress has appropriated money, made it very clear year after year that there are 3 sites that you can look at. It is very appropriate, and I know that Mr. Hoyer and Mr. Ivey can speak more clearly to this. I've spent 6 years in Congress, though. It is very common. It happens every day that when Congress appropriates money for the use of the executive branch, they do it with restrictions, limitations, direction, and then that becomes the law. So if the administration is interested in doing something different, they need to come back to Congress, right? They need to come back to Congress and make their requests. And to that, I would also say good luck there as well, because we've got a strong delegation, and we're gonna fight to make sure that that doesn't happen. So yes, there is discretion by the executive branch, but it is not without restraint. It's not without legislative restrictions, congressional restrictions and mandates on how you're going to exercise that discretion. And when you decide to divert $1.1 billion from Greenbelt back to Washington, D.C., that is stepped outside of the boundaries, the constraints, the limitations that Congress has set on the appropriation, the spending of that money by the executive branch.
Okay, Darcy Spencer, NBC4.
Hi, I'm just gonna stay seated. Just a question on the timeline. What are you thinking in terms of the timeline for the lawsuit? And is there an effort to sort of run the clock out if possible? And is there anything in the lawsuit dealing with whether TRL or something to stop the move to the Reagan building? What about those?
So today we filed a complaint, and, I don't stand here typically and describe litigation strategy. I can tell you we're going to use all the tools available and all the authorities we have to ensure that we're protecting the interests of Maryland and Prince George's County, so I'm going to leave it at that.
I got the last question, one more from USA 9. Does anybody, hold on, let me ask, does anybody else want to ask a question who's not gone? Okay, and then if we have time, go ahead, ma'am.
Anna Lucy William, Washington Business Journal.
Washington.
I just wanted to ask you a question to the county executive, with this building potentially not coming to Prince George's County, what efforts are there to build other economic development projects that would replace some of this budget loans?
So we're not going to replace the Greenbelt site because we are going to build the FBI headquarters at the Greenbelt site. But we have a lot, and I am very excited because we'll be making some announcements relatively soon, but we have some exciting sites here in Prince George's County that will be activated, that will bring in tens of millions of dollars in economic impact here to Prince George's County. As you know, we are excited about the redevelopment of the 500-acre Six Flags site. We know that the next development project that will be there will be a year-round project that will generate thousands of jobs and opportunities for Prince Georgians and beyond. So we are very excited about that site and a number of other sites, especially along our Blue Line corridor. For so many years, our inner Beltway communities, our oldest communities with our residents who have been with us from the very beginning, have stuck in there and have waited for grocery stores, for restaurants, really for attention. We are now giving them a lot of attention, and so we will see a lot of activation around our metro stations. So Prince George's County, honestly, is where it's at. In fact, as we are moving forward, we have revised our permitting process to make it much easier, much more simple to get permits, not just for small projects, but for large projects as well. We're working very closely with the Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission to streamline all of our efforts to develop here in Prince George's County. Prince George's County will be the epicenter for development for the entire region now, not in a few years, but right now. And so I'm really excited about the future here, all the projects that we have coming online, and just wait and see. You'll be hearing from us very soon. So thank you.
Any other questions?
Great, okay, that's a wrap. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. I want to thank the governor, county exec, Senate president, and Mr. Ivey, Congressman Ivey, 4th Congressional. Oh, abstaining, but he left, yeah, in abstention. Standing in, yeah, can we get, yeah.
With the council members, can we get a picture with King Prince George's? Is that okay? Let's get a.
You gotta move this, or does it move?
Jennifer, I want to get the.